Hello, my friends. Hello. So here I am. It is, oops, let me shut off my activity thing. It is 7 o'clock on Self-Care Sunday. And, I just am feeling a little bit down today. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of a little gray day, but I mean, it started off as like, good. I mean, I woke up at 6. I was like, I didn't really want to be up at 6. And I was kind of watching, I turned on the TV to try to go back to sleep. And I was watching something very interesting. And then I did fall back to sleep for like an hour. And then I got up at 8 and I did my normal stuff. I took my shower. I did my running. I did some writing. I did some like planning for the week. And I did then like some college, stuff that I had to do for Karina and Dylan. And yeah, like it was fine. And then I had it in my mind. I was going to go to this so like the dance instructor I usually dance with, like every quarter, I think it is, or twice a year or something like that. They do these like extra little dance party things, and it has like multiple instructors and different styles. And it's just like a big party. A lot of people go, and like workout party. Like for some reason, I was just, I don't know, like it was like one of those days where it was like, it didn't rain yet, but it was supposed to rain. It was just kind of gray. And I don't know if that like impacted my like mood, or if it's just been like, this has been really fun, but like, like in my stories, like real stuff comes up, and like that sometimes can be like a challenge to like process, right? Like, I wasn't trying to think about this kind of stuff. Like, I'm just trying to go about my day to day. And then these things like kind of naturally have come up. And, I've said I'm going to use this platform to be really honest. So like, like today I was like, I would have in the past like been like, well, I only want to show the good side of me. I only want to show the, the side that I want people to see me like, and I don't want people to see that I get sad or I get down, or, I don't have an answer as to like, why am I feeling this way? So, I was like, okay, well, that doesn't mean like you don't have to tape. And it doesn't mean that like when you do tape, like in the past, I probably would have been like, hi, and like pretended like everything's okay. And if you would know me, you'd be like, maybe something's off, and maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. I thought like I did a pretty darn decent job at like being like, hey, yeah, everything is fine. Like I've come to be pretty good at that. But this is like the platform to like shed all that, because I know that that's not really how I'm feeling. And I know that's probably not how you're feeling all the time. And so like, I just want to be real and super vulnerable, and just, this is how I am today. And so I was like driving to this dance thing, and I was doing all the things. Like, I don't know if it was because I didn't have a chance to eat before I went, and then the thing was at 2 o'clock. My fasting window opens at 1. I could have ate early, but I honestly wasn't hungry, and I was busy doing stuff. Like food didn't really come to mind. So I don't know if like my physical body, because I already had ran, I did yesterday's, stuff. Like, so like, I don't know, like, I just, yeah, maybe like I was already like physically like a little bit depleted. And so like my body was like vulnerable. So like when I get in these kind of places, I always call it the perfect storm. It's not just one thing, but it's more or less like the combination of multiple small things that then get me to this place where I'm like, nah, like I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like myself in my body. And you think about it like, okay, yes, last Monday, in a therapy session, my husband and I came to the decision that we are going to only do one more couples therapy. We're going to focus our attentions on our own independent work, and maybe in the future we'll reconvene, but maybe in the future we are no longer going to be together. And so like that's a pretty heavy thing, right? Like, I mean, I know that this isn't like a sudden like surprise. This has been a few years, if not 24 years in the making. So like this does not come as a like surprise, but it doesn't mean it's still not jarring. It's still not like, upsetting, right? Because it's like, it's so difficult because there's a part of me that's like, okay, I know that if I committed as much time as I'm now committing to myself, if I committed as much time as I am committing to starting a business, if I committed as much time as I am willing to commit to my kids, to this relationship, then like by just pure mathematics, like there would be so much more energy and good going into it than where we are right now. But then there is also like the piece of me that's like uncertain if that relationship deserves like that much attention. It deserves this much energy. And I go back and forth on that. I think that that's the problem, is just because I am so uncertain about where I want to be and if I see a future with Chris and I. So, and I think that perhaps he probably feels the same. I'm assuming, I don't know if this is like the resistance, why like when we get homework assignments and things like that, like we'll be pretty good in the onset, you know, like, cause we are, you know, we will, like if we are task oriented. So if, you know, we have a task, we want to complete it, you know, we put it in our calendars and things like that. And, you know, the fact that like we let those things slip off and like when we're doing some of the things that like, it's like kind of awkward and things like that, like, there's just like so much distance between us. And I think because like it would be easy if, you know, we shared similar kind of ideology or music or like of music or books or something like that. We would have something common to talk about. And for so many years, there were so many kids and so many activities that like our commonality was the kids. Our commonality, if not the kids, was the business. So like if we did go to a lunch or we did go to dinner or something like that, we had a plethora of things to talk about because we knew to kind of avoid those subjects that like neither one was engaged in. And I learned to like, you know, really understand the football, not just listen to it and things like that. But that was my own choice, you know. I also grew up with it, so it was like natural for me to kind of like it. But so like there's a part of me that knows like if I only tried harder, if I only did more, if I only, you know, did this, and it's just like I'm just not in a position right now that I really have the ability to do that. And I know like if I would do that, like it would help him with his problems because he wants to feel secure and he wants to feel like it's worth it to try and do things. So like we each have our own individual reasons why we are not individually trying harder for the we. And so like that weighs heavy on me because like this is the one area of my life that I am not like putting in that 110% effort. And I'm okay. Like it bothers me a lot. Like it is a lot of like consumes a lot of energy in my time thinking about it or like dealing with the repercussions of like his moods or things like that. Like it does weigh on me a lot. So like even though I'm not directly dealing with it, like indirectly I have, you know, a lot that I have to deal with because I'm not directly dealing with it. But anyway, so I have that going on and, you know, like I'm trying a new endeavor here and I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't even know how to get from like you in here to like me on there or tape it or, you know, and I have a lot of technology in this house, but I don't know how to implement it. And like, I haven't really told anybody, but I did tell Karina because she did see me like with this thing. So like, yeah, like, so it's just a lot. It's just kind of like, I want to keep, like when I do some things in the beginning, like I just like to keep it to me. Like when I first started dancing, it was like, I just want to keep it to me. Like, I don't want to share it with the world. I'm not ready for that quite yet. Although I'm ready to share with you. I just don't know how. So someday this will come off of my phone and it will appear on a computer or iPhone or Android or Pixel, whatever they are, TV, I don't know. And that's just been fantastic. But so I have that, and then, you know, like just it's the last semester of my one son's senior year. It's the last semester of my daughter's senior year. Like, you know, my other son is applying for jobs. Like, it's just, there's just a lot like externally going on. I have this other project that I have been delaying for like 2 years that is just costing me an enormous amount of money every month, just put it this way. And I have like just so much to do. And so I think it's just that combination of a lot of things weighing on me. But so when I was driving there, I was like, I just don't want to go. Like, I just not feeling this whatsoever. Like, I wanted to turn around, but I was now closer to the dance studio that I was, or a dance studio, but like technically studio, but like the big club, than I was home. So I just continued on, and I put on like music that would like usually like invigorate me and like get me pumped up, like my pump up playlist. Like, come on, like if I'm feeling low, like these are the jams that get me going. And you know, I was trying to fake it till I could make it. I even like grabbed like a cup of black coffee and took a couple sips of that, because I was like, okay, if my, you know, like maybe we'll cheat it like with a little caffeine, because I don't drink caffeine on the usual. On occasion I'll have some here in there, but I just don't want to depend on it like on anything, because like if I drink the caffeine and then if I don't, then I'll get a headache. And it's just like, I don't want to depend on anything. I will use my own reserves for energy. But this is how desperate I was. So I get there, and there was already a ton of people already there, and you know, they were lined up, and a few friends were like, come on, come in line with us. I was like, oh no, I'll go down back here. So I go in the back of the line, and you know, people are taking pictures, and you know, they're just having a good time, like as they should be. We're going to a fiesta party here. And you know, I start chatting with one lady a little bit that was in front of me in line, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'll be back, because I just didn't feel like chatting any, you know, I just was not in the mood. And I'm trying to smile and fake through it, and we finally go into the studio, and like everybody's like, oh hey, you know, hi, there you were, we were wondering when you were gonna get here, and all this stuff, and move up closer, oh, do you want my spot? I'm like, oh no, I am fine in the back. Like, I wanted to so be in the back, that room, or in the corners. I just literally wanted to be invisible. And like people are running around like with groups and taking pictures, and I just was not in the mood for it. But I loved it. Like I loved observing it. I love like watching other people, you know, some people were in color coordinated outfits, and you know, they were all running around and seeing their friends and taking pictures and laughing and having a good time. I even though I was not in the best of moods and didn't want to like partake in it, like I loved watching everybody else in their zone. You know, they were just having a good time, you know, posing for their little Facebook, you know, whatever that's going to get posted, you know, so they were having a good time, and I loved watching that. I just was not in the mood to be a part of it. And like, even one lady was like, you okay? What's the matter? Do you want this spot? I'm like, oh no, that I am fine. No, go ahead. So I just kept like tying my shoes, so you know, like kept my head down. One lady came up and she pulled me, okay, you're coming and taking a group picture over here. So I did that one, and I did a second photo she asked me to take with her. That's fine, like, you know, but I just was kind of just in my zone, doing my own thing, and just trying to muster up like the want to be there. Plus I like pulled something. Well, I didn't even pull anything in my cap. This was like a stupid thing. My daughter for Christmas got me this like massager thing, and so I was like, okay, I tried to get her to return it, but she won't. So I pulled it out, and I like left it on my calf for like too long. And then the next day, my calf like tightened up like super tight. And then like, even when I was dancing, like it went to like pull, you know, you know, that feeling like where it went to like cramp or pull. And I was like, no, and I stepped down on it. And then the second time it did it again. And so I think it's just irritated. And then it went away, and I was like, cool. So like Saturday was fine. But then like an idiot last night, I'm like, okay, let me just relax a little bit, give my body some self-care. So I pulled that stupid massager out again. I laid my leg on it, and damn, I'll be damned, it was this morning irritated again. I'm like, I am not touching that thing near my calf again, ever. So now like it was already irritated. So I was like afraid I was going to kind of like pull it. So I was kind of not moving. I was moving very gingerly. Let's put it that way. Plus I didn't know a single dance, a single thing. Even though I was like, okay, cool. When Javier came on, I'll know at least these. No, he threw all these wild cards, never did these dances, never did these moves. So I was just lost for a solid hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever it was. Well, it was still fun, but like, there was never a moment I just was in my groove and could just like let it out, like let it loose. So, but I loved watching everybody else like cheering and, you know, dancing and laughing and having a good time. Like that was amazing, that part. But like just personally, I wasn't in it. So then I did all that. That was fine. And, you know, like I was driving home and like, I remember like asking like Chris, like, do you have any, you know, food plans or anything? You know, I haven't eaten. He's like, no, you know, this. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And I wasn't still even hungry, but like, I think like for me, it was just kind of feeling like it was just the last straw, like thing. Like, it was just like feeling like uncared for. Like it was just like, I am in a mode, in a place today, and it's a rarity for me, but it was just this place where it was like, I longed to be nurtured. I just longed for somebody to just give me a hug. I just longed for somebody to like, just make me a meal. Just, you know, see that I take vitamins every day. And so like I put them in a 2-week thing. So I know which vitamins I've taken or whatever, make sure I take them all. It's easier than every day opening up the bottle and closing. I've done that. So it's like a little 2-week thing. And Chris used to like fill it up, and I had left it out yesterday, and I secretly had hoped, you know, like, and I know this, if I want something, I need to ask for it, to use my mouth. I get it. But, you know, I was just like left it out and just hoped that like, oh, maybe he'll just refill up the vitamins. No. So I had to fill my vitamins. I had to cook for myself. And so I just felt like in that moment, you know, it's like sometimes when you feel like down and you are like finding reasons to validate however you're feeling. So I was just like, yeah, I have to eat anything I need. I have to fulfill it for myself. If I want my vitamins filled, I need to fill it. If I want my stomach filled, I need to fill it. If I need my heart filled, guess what? I need to fill it. And so I was starting, you know, like to just kind of get in that like mode, and I was sitting there eating my leftovers because I didn't want to stand there and cook anything. The other kids were like eating or weren't hungry, so it wasn't like I was cooking for everybody. So I was like, I'll just eat leftovers. And then that was like a tiny bit of leftovers, so I'll grab a piece of turkey and cheese and some lettuce and throw on some mustard and just roll it up and maybe drink a protein shake. Like, it was just a very like ho-hum kind of meal thing. Like, it wasn't unsatisfying, but it wasn't satisfying, you know, like I ate some nuts, you know, just kind of picked around at little different things. And just started kind of feeling like ate alone. Like, it just felt like really like alone and seen, unnurtured, like kind of like thing. And I felt myself just kind of getting in that rabbit hole. And I was like, once you start slipping, at least for me, it's like you can slip, like, and the slip is fast and hard. And sometimes you get stuck, like, once you slip, right? So I came upstairs, and then I was like, okay, well, I had to do a little bit more steps. And I just ate. So I usually like to do some steps. Otherwise, like, my stomach kind of, now that I'm so accustomed to, like, if I just eat and then lay down, especially since I eat a fairly large meal, like, I just feel like, you know? So I just was like, okay, I know I have to film, but I'm going to do a little bit of my steps. And then I started just kind of processing, like, what was going on with me, you know, I'm writing down, and the day started off well. Like, it didn't, you know, it just had all of a sudden kind of hit me, and I just, you know, wasn't feeling well. So like, I kind of went through the motions and the things, and like one of the kind of cool things that came out of it was like, I had realized, like, you know, I'm sitting here, and I know I could have asked. If I would have said, hey, Chris, can you fill my vitamins? He may or may not have. Probably would have. I could have said, hey, Chris, can you make me something? I'm starving. You know, I could have went and picked up something. Like, I could have done a lot. I could have used more communication myself instead of like anticipating or hoping or wanting somebody else to show up for me. And then, you know, having the little pity party where it's like, well, I just have to show up for myself because nobody's ever been there for me. And, you know, like my parents haven't been there. These people haven't, like, and to go in that like mode again and validate all those feelings. And I started writing and all those things, and I was, you know, letting it all out. And then it like came to me, and I know this stuff sounds wonky, and I swear if I would have read or heard this stuff like 2 years ago, I'd be like, this lady is off her rockers. Like, does she have multiple personality disorder? Like, who is she talking to? I don't even get it, because I didn't get it. So if you're at all curious, if you're at all open-minded, or if you know, I think you will know. So like, as I go into this next part, so I start thinking and I glance down and I happen to see the 3 photos of young me. And I look at them, and like, it just like dawns on me, like, you know, and in that moment when I was feeling that way, I was like transported, even though I wasn't. It took me to like seeing the photos of me to be like, okay, I was transported into like my childhood room where I was sitting alone and playing with my Barbies and kind of like, you know, talking with the Barbies. So like, you know, like acting out life. And I felt that same exact thing. It was like, I was alone, you know, I was a little girl, I was hungry, but it was up to me to go find my food. It was up to me to like heal my wounds that were on the inside. Like, and it was like, I literally was feeling that same way that I used to feel so many years ago, and like never resolved or never did anything. And like, it like dawned on me, and this is the part that's going to sound weird. Like, it made me, when I thought of it, like made this connection about how that's how I used to feel in my room alone. And here I was again, all these years later, and feeling that same feeling in my room alone again. And I just like mentally went and like, I just went and hugged that little girl, like in there. And I was like, you know, what that little girl couldn't see then was the future, right? She couldn't see her all grown up in me, but I, like, as the present day me, can still see her so clearly. And like, in this moment when I'm alone, you know, and feeling alone, it's like in a way I'm not, because I still have her. And I know, again, this is like me kind of fixing me, but like at the end of the day, isn't that what we all have? Like, there is no guarantees there will be somebody, and there's no guarantees that anybody will show up the way we want. And to even put that expectation on somebody else, that's immense, because we don't even know what that other person's going through. We can have an idea, we can think we know, you know, but we don't really know that other person's real experience to like put that additional pressure on them to be like, oh, now it's your job to give me love. Now it's your job to film. It's your job because today I'm feeling low and I don't know how to communicate that with anybody, or don't want to, and want you to mind read, and that's your job to do. No. So like connecting, and like that little girl in me needed that hug just as much as I today needed that hug. Like, it was like a sit on my lap, like hug, like nurturing, like, and it's just mental. And so like, you know, I know it sounds weird, like I know it does, but like it literally just shifted the whole dynamic. It shifted the whole mood to where I don't feel sorry. Like, I do feel in a way that from this place of sadness, from this place of sorrow, from this place, this thing I'm experiencing today, I was able to heal some wounds, or at least sit with some things that I was feeling so many years ago that I've never addressed, like I've never thought about, I've never healed from. And now I know, like, I am not alone. And I know that sometimes it does feel like I'm alone, and that sucks, right? Like, you know, like for the most part, like I say, I don't really necessarily need people. I don't need a lot from anybody. I have learned how to become incredibly self-sufficient. But do I always want to be? No. You know, like, I don't want to, like, I like playing pickleball. I can't go play pickleball by myself. Like, I mean, I could go make new friends. Like, there's things, but like, there's just some things like, it'd just be nice to do life with somebody, and like with somebody that enjoyed some of the things I want, that enjoyed me, that like didn't want to argue me. Like when I say this is me, I see you. I may not understand you. Like this may sound wonky to somebody that like I gave my 7-year-old self playing Barbies alone in a room a hug, and that made me feel better. And they're like, where's this person? Like, so I get that somebody may not understand my experience, just as I may not understand their experiences, but it doesn't mean that I have the right to say that experience isn't true, that experience isn't right, that experience is wrong, or I shouldn't feel those ways, or I shouldn't think that thing. Like, I just want to be surrounding myself. And I always think about this. It's like, I think about that, and because I hear it so often, is like, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And it's like, I want to spend my time with people that are elevating me, people that are challenging me, people that are wanting to make this world a better place, people that are trying to learn and teach and believe that anything is possible. And when I'm having to defend myself and my ideology because it's deemed as wrong or silly or false, like, I don't know, it just is like, that's okay. You just don't get me, but that just doesn't mean, like, that means to me that maybe we shouldn't be spending that much time together, because I don't want to spend that energy fighting for who I am when I know who I am. I know what my experiences are. I know what my truth is, and I'm finally getting the courage to speak it. And so I say all that to say, like, some days life is really, really challenging, and like the easy answer, like, it would have been amazing if I came home and my pill little container was filled with 2 weeks of vitamins, and I had a warm dinner on the table, and a masseuse rubbing my feet and my calf that hurts. And that would have been amazing. And I probably would have melted. And like the acts of service, like, that is my love language. Like, it would have been off the charts. It would have been like, oh my God, somebody notices me. Somebody heard me. It would have been amazing. And it would have felt lovely in the moment. But overall, I think as a sustainability, as a reality, like, I think what I needed today was to have this opportunity, to have this quiet, to have this alone time, and then choose something different. Because most of the time when I get in this, feeling, I start just going down the rabbit hole. Every single thing, is just like, yep, see, yeah, oh, yep, validating every single reason why I'm alone, and I probably deserve to be alone, and, whatever these other, I'm not even going to go into them because I don't want to speak it into this universe. Like, but every other little cockamamie thing that my brain can hear and think like, oh, yep, this is true, this is true, this is true. So I just literally debunked it all. And I was able to go through that process because nobody came in to save me. And because I had this opportunity to sit there and I had to say, well, I don't like how I'm feeling. And, there's got to be a way out. And I get it. Like, I have to sit with this. Like, I'm not, and my way out isn't through a donut, or it's not through a glass of wine, or, anything else. So, all I can do is sit with it, or binge watching a show. Like, I am going to just sit here in my quiet, and I'm going to do my fake run, and I'm going to write until we figure this out. And I think I did. I can't be for certain, but I know for today it worked. And I know, like, inside a piece of me feels more complete, and it feels lighter in a sense. Like, I feel like this burden is off of me, and to where, like, I can finish this. I can go take a nice, warm, hot shower. I can cuddle into my bed early today, and I won't have this, like, overwhelming sadness that like I'm alone and like I am not alone. I am not alone. Like, cause I know if anything else, I have myself and I have my young me, and you know, we could do this. So, yeah, like I hope your day is going well. I hope that, you know, if you're ever feeling alone, that you know that you're not alone, and that, you know, the other moral of the lesson is sometimes if we want things, we need to speak up for ourselves. And, you know, as somebody who is a care giver, it's really hard to take care, and it's really hard to accept, you know, somebody else's kindness. And I think people then get in the habit of thinking, well, they don't want it, they don't need it, you know, and I think that that's been the persona I have wanted to be for so long. Is like, I don't need anybody else's. I don't want to depend on anybody else, because in my past, if I depended on somebody, like, I don't know, a parent, you know, or even like my uncle and my auntie, who like became surrogate parents in my childhood and then again in my adulthood, and they left, like, not by choice, but they passed away. And so they just, you know, they are not here anymore, and they are not, I'm not able to just speak with them, and I counted on them. And I think that like, that part of me, there's a part of me that just, it's so scary and unsafe to count on anyone. And so like, I think even, you know, like I've said here, like, I don't like putting all my chips in one basket, you know, for my dance classes, because it's like, well, I'm counting on him to be there. I'm counting on him to not be hurt. I'm counting on him to, you know, still do this job. And I'm putting all my energy and chips in this basket. And if I don't, like, you know, diversify my, you know, fitness, like, does that mean that like I'm gonna, if something, you know, if I no longer was at that Bay Club, or he was no longer there, like, does that mean, like, what does that mean? And so I feel like I need to, like, in a way, diversify my interests and not only count on one person. Because I think that ultimately the only person at the end of the day I can genuinely count on is myself. Like, and I don't know if that's normal. Like, I don't know if that's like bad, if I should like count on other people, but I think that I've been so disappointed in so many times, and that I've become really versed at like counting on myself, which I think has its blessings. I really do, because as long as I'm counting on myself and I'm able to like days today where I can, like, you know, have a reckoning and be like, no, you aren't alone. And you know, if you would have asked anybody in that room to take a photo with you, they would have taken a photo with you. If you would have like wanted to, if you would have, you know, wanted somebody to cook for you and you asked, you know, it would have been, you know, most likely would have happened. Like, or at least you would have asked and tried. Like, there's no harm in that. And I think that like the lesson here for me is that to remind myself I am not alone, and that I can count on myself. Like, I am a pretty dependable person. I take care, and now I'm actually doing something I didn't do for a long time, and I'm taking care of myself too. So like, I am a good person to myself, and I hope that you're a good person to yourself too. And I hope that like, if you're feeling sad or down or feeling alone, like, you know, that's okay. Like, it's okay to feel like that, but it's also important to realize like, you aren't alone. Like, you really aren't alone, and that there are people all around you that care about you and that adore you, and that some days are just tougher than the others. And sometimes we just really need to listen to what it is, you know, whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, you know, whatever it is trying to tell you in that discomfort. Because a lot of times from pain comes beauty. And if we just constantly try to numb our pain, because it's so much easier, it's so much better when somebody has a cape and they jump in and they cook your meal, or they, you know, show up just as you think you need. But when you do it yourself, you are empowered and you grow and you evolve, and life doesn't become this big crazy mystery game. It's like, I know now what it is I need, and that I need to take a few minutes to myself, and I need to just unwind. I need to journal. I need to spend a few minutes with my inner child, whatever it may be. Take a walk, go out in nature, you know, hug a friend, hug a child, hug a loved one, you know, whatever it may be. Find what it is you need and go get it. So I'm going to keep this super short today, but I appreciate you allowing me this opportunity to be vulnerable. And, you know, if you're alone, I'm here. Like, I am here for you. Like, I want to hear your stories. Like, your story matters. I just can't emphasize that enough. Like, you matter. Your stories matter. And I think they're really fascinating to understand. Who you are today is just a combination of all those little stories all put together. And what the really cool thing is that's who we are today, but we are writing our own stories for the future. And so whoever we want to be tomorrow, we can be. Like, it is possible. And so it's this like simultaneous journey of like, you know, healing the past and staying in the present and, you know, planning and creating for your future. So I am so excited to be on this journey, and I think it's going to be a great week. I don't even really remember what I have in store. It's all written on my calendar, but I think it's going to be a really good week. Oh, by the end of the week, so a week from today, I will be in a training, and I will be a certified fitness instructor, even though I'm going to do absolutely nothing with it, but by Lululemon. And so, yeah, so like that should just be a fun experience. And oh yeah, the red is here. 49ers won, barely. It was a crazy game. Didn't think they were gonna do it, but they did. So yay! And then they play again next Sunday when I'm in my training, so I will miss it, which is what made me think about that. But that's okay. So I'll just go peek out. I'll go take a break and go peek out on the big screens and see what's going on. But yeah. So I say all that to say, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for listening to my little rant here, my little venting. And I hope that something in this story, like connects with you, and you can, you know, have your own wonderful journey as well. So thank you so much. Love you. Bye.